大家好, this is Roan LS, and on this episode, no, on this part, I'll be doing my makeup. Usually, as I've mentioned before, I usually cross dress. So this time I'll be showing you the simplest makeup, like like a general makeup for male characters. Now, for male characters, that usually they differ on the eye part, like how would they look like, and how would you interpret it. So first, I'll be starting from. I've already washed my face, okay, but I just washed it. So you'll be seeing what do I do before I put on my makeup. And this routine that I'm going to it did not like I did not start with this one. Okay, these are like things that I've started appreciating, especially on the first part. Before, I just usually start with my foundation, which is a huge mistake with, because my skin it's mostly dry, but it could be oily at times, so it's combination. Now, especially on this T part, that's the first part where you would notice your foundation or your makeup would start to loosen up, like on your, this is like what we call the T area. So to avoid that, since I'm a little bit dry, I've decided to try on some stuff, and recently I've begun to appreciate my pre-makeup routine. So yes, but anyways, yeah, this is my face. Disappointed, right? Yeah, me too, every time that I wake up in the morning. But I hope you would bear with me. So then, okay. So I didn't put on my contacts because I had an eye irritation lately. So the doctor didn't advise me on that. So let's start. So what do I now after washing my face, especially on conventions? What I do is I have my facial cleanser, facial foam, just to make my face clean out of unnecessary things before I put on my makeup, especially before a con. So after that, I would put on my toner. Now the toner that I'm using recently, I've been fascinated with the witch hazel. Now it did actually lessen some pimple marks on my face. I kinda like it now. Okay, so there. So you have to thoroughly clean your face. It has to be very. Now, you would be having a hard time if you did not clean it properly, especially with the makeup. It would create some bumps, and hygienically, generally speaking, it is better if you clean it thoroughly. So maybe sometimes your cleanser or your soap will not be able to remove all the unnecessary things. So that is why I still have to use toner. Wow. Okay, there. I just let it dry for a little bit, because so while waiting for that, now as I mentioned on my previous one on the wig, so this is how you put on your wig cup. So it is appropriate, or it is much it's better if you're going to put on your wig cup before you start your routine, because it would help you on, like, your hair would not be all over the place. So this is the thickest part and this is the thin area. So what you're going to do is you have to put, oh my goodness, that's chill. Okay, and then as I said before, the thickest part should be there. Okay, especially with those people with long hair, you really need this one. Now, for other people to keep it secure, they would use pins. But a lot of people, well, I don't do it, but I've noticed most of my friends, they use transport, like the tape here, so to secure the hair on this part. It's a little bit painful, so I'm not doing it. Just to have it like this is my first wig. my hairnet, and I double it with the other one, which is not opened. So just to top it off. Okay, there. Oh my goodness. I look like I'm about to go for a surgery. But yeah, but you have to really make sure that there's no unnecessary hair moving. Have you watched Alien versus Predator? When the Predator would look like that. Okay. Anyways. No, Alien. Yeah, it was the alien who was like the head like that. Okay. There. And about now, my toner is already settled. The next thing that I do is serum. Okay. And just to keep my face clean. I I just started this one recently. Yeah, just to keep my from impurities. And there. Well, I do this before I do my makeup and before I go to bed. I know, just if you're cosplaying, well, I'm not really requiring, especially for those who do not have much of a budget, but it would nice for you to invest on these things because now, if you're someone who likes on going for cost trials, you're very consistent. For the young ones, that's fine. If you would notice, there's not much of a pimple, but as you're in our generation, the older ones, our skin is not as smooth as when we were younger, so we have to like really take care of it. Well, funny coming from me because I'm not really fond of it before. Okay, there. So let me just dry it off. The one that I'm using is it dries very quickly, so I kind of like it. So after that, now this is the part, the next one that I'm going to put is usually it takes some time to dry. So I have my moisturizer. Okay, why moisturizer? Well, to keep my skin plump. Now, as I mentioned before, was my skin. I'm sorry, my skin is a little bit flaky. Now, there's the time if it's very cold, my skin would even peel like a snake. So there. Okay. No, I've started appreciating this one because I've tried it when my friend has this one and I tried it. It was actually nice. Any moisturizer will do, but not the heavy ones. If you're planning on putting a lot of things on your face, try to get the light. Okay, there. I'm not going to show the product because, well, wow, there's much of an excess. Wait. Okay, there. So as I'm waiting to pat that off, now you have to remember your skincare should not just be this what I'm doing. I just don't do this before cons or before I do cost trial. Especially this routines, the serum, the moisturizer, the toner. I even do that. I started religiously doing it every night. Now there are times wherein I do not put my serum or my moisturizer because I have to put on my face mask. I do put on my face mask every once a week. I make sure that I make sure that I have that once a week, at least once a week. Now, keep your keep yourself keep my skin healthy. Okay, there. It's already dried up. Now, next one is primer. So, why is a primer important before you start on your makeup? For your makeup to actually stick. Now, what I do with my primer is I don't use the beauty blender. No, I did use it before, but I prefer using my fingers for this one. Well, I have my brush here, but nah, I prefer to use my finger if it's this one. Just now, well, that depends on how you would want to do it. But for me, it's more of a preference. Now, if you're going to use your finger, you have to make sure that it's clean. It's very clean because it's like you're putting dirt on your product. If you're, if you just like touch a lot of things and then you're putting on You're using it to put it. No, this is your fingers. We're not sure where you touched or anything, but if just to make sure it's clean. There. Okay. So why is primer? Well, as I said, it would make your makeup last longer. Makeup, to make it stick. And it's like a protection. That's like the thin layer before the foundation, thick foundation, put in your face. So like a first layer of protection. So it not a lot of foundation would clog your pores. And yeah, to smoothen things up. Okay, there. So you just have to evenly distribute it. Okay, there. Well, that depends on what primer, like, as I said, on what primer you're going to use. For me, since I'm Asian, obviously I'm Asian. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, it's like my winglet is moving a lot. Okay. Now for primer and for base foundation, as an Asian, I would recommend you using Korean products or like any Asian products because they're a little bit healthier and it's not that harsh on the skin because if you're going to use like the European or American brands, they go strong on your skin. So as for the basic ones, the first routines that I've tried, it's better to keep it like on a not so strong chemicals. So I tend to go for organic things. So there. So just let it absorb. That's why at first when I was starting up in cosplay, I could actually it's not an exaggeration, but I could do that in 5 minutes. No, because what I was using before was a cake foundation, so I just have like to swap it in like that, and it's gonna be so pale to get the color that I am going for. But now, the more that I learn, the more that I grow in cosplay, the longer it takes me to do my makeup. Okay, no, because I've been discovering a lot of things, but I think it's not a bad thing when we learn. Okay, I think it's okay now. So